Hi ladies, and welcome to this week's Face-to-Face Friday with My Sister and Me Ministries. I'm Jen and I'm going to be your host today. Mary Ann and I just want you to feel that this is a place where you can learn a little more about God, that you can dig a little deeper into your relationship and those areas in your life that maybe you haven't even surrendered to Him yet. And each week we come to you with a message that lines up with our writing, but it is also a time that God just works in us, and we hope that He's working in you, maybe to show you something new about Himself or to give you more confidence and trust in Him. And today we are going to be jumping into Psalm 27, and that is exactly what David is talking about. He is talking about the fact that even though his enemies are crowding him, even though his enemies are coming at him with all this force and vengeance, he can stand confident and joyfully before the Lord. Boy, every week it seems like David is up against something, or he's teaching us something new through the Psalms. And as we continue in that book, that beautiful book of the Bible, I hope that you are enjoying it as much as we are. In Psalm 27, David is talking about the Lord being his light and his salvation. He starts out by saying that right off the bat, that Lord, you are my salvation, you are my light. Whom shall I fear? Now, I've heard that verse in a lot of different, even Christian songs, current songs, whom shall I fear? And I wonder, do we really think about the whom in that sentence? Because there is definitely something that we fear that can cause us to feel chaos or feel worry, feel loneliness. But we sometimes can't really put our finger on just exactly what that is. It just feels like everything is caving in around us, or that everybody's out to get us. And I'm not saying that you may not have an enemy in this world, that there may be an argument or a conflict that's going on in your life that you do need resolution for. But in most of our struggles, in most of our, hard times, I want to share with you that there really is one true enemy that we all have. He comes to kill and destroy and confuse and cause pain. He is an angel that fell, that thought he could be better than God. And I know we know him commonly as Satan, but I don't think that we spend enough time really understanding the fact that he is here. We can't see his physical appearance, so it's easy to forget that he is at the root of all evil. We fight with our spouses. We argue with our parents. We have disagreements with friends. And we're like, I'm mad at him. And I remember my husband and I went to a marriage conference a few years ago, and we had to look at each other and say, my spouse is not my enemy. You are not my enemy. There is an enemy, and he would love nothing more than to break that bond of unity, not just between a husband and wife, but definitely he does that. Or he tries to break up families. He tries to discourage us from doing well in our studies or our jobs. He tells us we're not good enough, that we won't amount to anything, and that our past sin is just too great for us to stand before God and deserve the love and grace that he gives. And some of that is true. We really don't deserve the love and the grace, but God gives it anyway. I just think about how everything in my life, every struggle, every trial, every ache, every pain, every, disagreement is still sifted through the hands of my Savior. He is still with me in all those moments. Yes, there are things that have been allowed in my life that I wish had not been. But I look back and I think, if only I had held tight and been confident in my relationship with God in that moment, what could I have learned? What could I know now that I can't know because I didn't cling to him? I want to encourage you, ladies, cling to your Savior, especially in these attacks and these times that the enemy is coming at you. He really does want to take you down. He wants to destroy any dreams that you have, any hopes that you have. Because if he can keep us down, if he can keep us low, he can keep us from being the hands and feet of our Savior. He can keep us from doing good, from loving others, from loving well. And most of all, he can keep us from having an absolute beautiful relationship with Jesus. Let me read you a few verses out of Psalm 27, just so you can feel the passion behind David in this psalm. In verse 1, he writes, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?" He says there are going to be evils. There are going to be things that come against me, but I don't have to fear because I have God and I am confident in his love and protection. A little further in the psalm, David writes, "For he will hide me in the shelter in the day of trouble. He will conceal me under the cover of his tent. He will lift me high upon a rock." How often I have asked God to just take me to a place with him that is higher than what I can see right in front of me. I yearn for those days. I see that David later in the psalm, he asks God, "Teach me your ways, show me, guide me." And ultimately, he asks God that he just wants to spend eternity with him, but he also wants to spend his living days with him here and now. And we have that option. We definitely have that option. Have you made that decision, ladies? Have you made a true decision to just lay down all of these things before him and say, "You know what, Lord? You say I'm worthy of receiving your grace and your forgiveness, and I'm going to take that gift today because I can't stand before this enemy any longer without you. These battles are too hard. My life is such a struggle, and some days I just don't know where to turn. But with Jesus, I do. I know which way to turn. I look up, I seek his face as he asks me to, and I will find him." As we close out Psalm 27 this week, I want to read the very last verse. "Wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord." You know, David is the same David that shot a stone in a slingshot and brought down the giant Goliath. What is that Goliath for you today? What is the enemy trying to take from you? I just want to say, pick up that slingshot, ladies. Pick it up and grab that stone. And as you wait for God to give you the strength to pull it back and let it go, I pray that you will draw closer to him, that you will get to know him more, and realize that as things are allowed to sift through the hands of your mighty Savior, he is still the one that will be holding you and guiding you and loving you through each and every moment. Ladies, hold fast to hope.